Hello, I'm Daniel, descendant of wolves, and I'm definitely not in Shanghai, China. Instead, I'm in the South, y'all. So guys, today I want to just talk about having a base of martial arts. Having a base for yourself as a practitioner and or the YouTube experts. What actually would make you have a base of knowledge, okay? What is your base? What can you judge other things from? What can you have as a foundation of your house to add the things that I add? So, hopefully you liked, guys, first part with Viking Samurai, talking about what it's like to spar UFC champions. Now, mind you guys, I only try to remember heavyweight and light heavyweight champions of the UFC. I didn't get into all the other events, the top events that people fought in. I didn't get into any other weight classes. I was only talking about some of the champions in the bigger weight classes. All right, there's other people, of course, hundreds that I've sparred that fought in Bellator, Ryzen, Pride, Sengoku, Deep, Pancrase, One, Strike Force, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some other big ones, just talking about that. But anyway, guys, yes, I look bad because I'm just finishing my second cup of coffee. I've already done my 51 push-ups, and I have not showered yet because that's how Wolfman does on days I'm not working. So, to have a base in martial arts, I started martial arts in 1986 in Taekwondo. In an ideal world, or if you were asking, well, I really, really want to be a fighter someday, or just make humanity better, in an ideal world, everyone would have grown up doing wrestling and judo. In an ideal world, they would have been humbled and gotten hungry and learned how to be successful in life by doing wrestling and judo. I only did a little over half a season of wrestling in 8th grade until I tore my hamstring. I also, one time, turned and bench pressed a guy and rolled him all the way over, but I pinned myself. And that's when I was like, but this isn't real fighting. This is before UFC, okay? Before we knew there was such a thing as AIKIDO in America, all right? So, in an ideal world, though, you would go learn to be tough and be a wrestler. And if not that, the school system should have judo. And maybe even some type of karate as well, but I think judo specifically would be good. If you are a teenager, and I just love those movies, there's nothing wrong with doing Taekwondo, AIKIDO, TMA, maybe even Wing Chun Kung Fu. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, my distance control is still probably, when I think about it, really owed to my years of Taekwondo, starting at 9, taking it very seriously, getting a black belt at 15, 16, so it wasn't totally McDojo, it was the first black belt. I was able to use my Taekwondo skills once I left and went to Hickish school, if you will, and the local bad boy taller than me was from the family of the bad guys in town that did bad stuff and got arrested all the time, and he was a wrestler, even though he was this tall, lanky bad boy. And I begged him to stop messing with me and stop picking on me, and I tried every avenue, including blowing him off, saying please, begging, and I tried for a month. Well, when I confronted him in the 4-way corners ready to go after making sure my shoes were on tight, and he clenched his fist up and started a punch, and I literally intercepted it, you don't want to believe me, but it's true, with a jumping left round kick to his head. I know I intercepted it because I had his fist marks into my knee. And then he tried to single leg me against the lockers, and trying to keep my balance, and I hit him hard in the ribs with some right hooks to the flank. And then eventually that made him, after, 5, 6, 7 of them, and then he's down on the ground, and I went like Bruce Lee's story, whap in the air and almost flying stomped his head. And luckily, Dan, that's enough. I recognized my AP geometry's teacher's voice, thankfully stopping me from catching some kind of assault charge or battery charge, even though I'm the one who was defending myself. But anyway, if you want to do Taekwondo, go do Taekwondo as a teenager. If you want to go do karate, go do karate. I wish there was good karate in the U.S. It's very limited to some big cities. I wish Shotokan was mostly real, like you see the Machitos sparring back in the day in videos on my playlist. Check out my playlist. I'm not just Dan the Aikido guy. Check out my playlist. I was doing historical MMA, martial art video, sambo, karate, Aikido, putting Bruce Lee back in the day, stuff you've never seen. I'm the place a lot of people got that footage from. Look at my playlist. But the point is, when you're young, you can do those things. If you're really into the Jackie Chan movies, go ahead and do yourself some Wing Chun. But to have a base in martial arts, you're going to need to learn grappling and striking. You're going to have to at least have some grappling knowledge, real grappling knowledge, and striking knowledge. And if you want to be a YouTuber, maybe you shouldn't suck in all ranges of fighting when you badmouth other people and badmouth styles. I'm sure you've seen my recent video by now. But you gotta have a base. And by having a base, I mean like literally. Which means wrestling, judo, sambo. A base. I know how to keep my legs wide and my balance low down to the ground. You gotta have a base to build the foundation of the house. Your striking is no good if a guy just comes in with pressure and you fall on your booty, looking like you're a modern-day Jiu-jitsu guard, saying, don't even get in my guard, bro. I'm going to sit down like an infant. Because that's what I do when I've been surrounded by people in bars and carjackers and all the things that I've faced in my life. No, it's not. Taekwondo saved me another time. 2-on-1 stick attack from some felon football players that I used to play football with, but one of them had raped 2 girls that I had known. They set me up in a pre-planned, premeditated attack. The last day of high school, 16 years old. And a lead-led sidekick when one was holding me from behind, the other's hitting me in the head, and some high blocks actually saved my life, probably even though I had welts everywhere and a huge gash in the back of my head that literally could have killed me if it was just a little bit over. A lead-leg sidekick took one of them out of the fight while the other guy was behind and hitting me and holding me and all of that, and a rear elbow and a springing up and boom and a spinning back fix that I did originally because I took my Taekwondo seriously, and when the master left, I was the one teaching the class, and the night before, I had him doing knees on the heavy bag and spinning back fists. So train some realistic stuff because my experience says it might be the thing you just trained last. But to have a base, to know how to make some Wing Chun work as I've done at making JKD straight blast chain punching actually work in MMA twice. MMA and Daido Juko, which is kind of MMA. World Championships. Having that base is important. So as a kid, all these people on that horrible Reddit place, what style to do, look at my ranking martial arts styles, not other people that didn't know judo had submissions and have no idea of martial arts or history or anything, and are just out for your teenage dollars. Look at my ranking martial arts video because I actually have experience in most of them. I rate 27 martial arts, and even the ones I don't, like I've never really done capoeira, but I've gone to a bunch of classes and different people and talked to some old Brazilians that had scars from knife fights about the reality of capoeira way back in the day before it kind of changed and get watered down just like everything else. Look at my ranking martial arts video because I put the best highlights from each style, and then you can listen to someone that has trained 5 years, has 4 black belts, actually did all these other different styles. And so when I badmouth something like I say, the trappy happy mid-range Wing Chun Kali disarm BS is BS because it's the easiest range to crash into. Boxers and every kind of martial arts in the world do it all the time. It happens, clinches happen. But I can say what is useful, and I gain some sensitivity and etc. and so forth. So you might want to look that up if you're lost, or what style should I do first? As I said, if you're a teenager, go ahead, do what you want, but then realize maybe none of that's no good unless I have the base of grappling. And even jiu-jitsu people, if you haven't done judo and all you do is sit on your butt, that's not jiu-jitsu. That is sport-specific jiu-jitsu. It's not Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's not Gracie jiu-jitsu. You don't get it to live off, oh, I do that MMA stuff. I do that UFC stuff. You pretender wannabe. Oh, I got a fight coming up in 2 months. I have been training. A jiu-jitsu match is not a fight. I don't care if at the highest black belt level you might get something snapped to ADCC or the world's Mr. Wayne Blue Belt. You're not doing a fight. It's not a fight. There's no strikes. It's not a fight. You're not doing UFC. You're not even doing MMA. But you gotta have a base to judge on. Do these YouTubers have a base? Are they a black belt in judo at least, which is not the hardest things to do, ladies and gentlemen? Do they at least have a black belt in judo? Do they at least have a purple belt? Once you're about 2 years in a purple belt, you are now just halfway to black belt, which just means you've been doing it a while and have stuff, and of course the level's gotten way watered down over the years. I was a white belt for 3 years. I was a blue belt for, I think, 7, 8, 9 years. And people are getting black belts nowadays, which would be one thing if they're the prodigy or they've won worlds and they've won Pan Ams and they've won everything at brown, black belt level. But if they haven't, so if you want to learn about martial arts, think about, I need a base. I need a base in grappling, absolutely, because if you can't wrestle, you can't fight. If I can't stay on my feet to throw my cool kicks, it means nothing. If I can't even do my Muay Thai without a guy just moving forward and I fall down because he moved forward with aggression, you know, like people on the street that have done felonies before tend to do. If you want to learn some practical fighting, look at my 52 series. Look at my playlists. If you want to learn to grapple and do jiu-jitsu and catch wrestling and learn how to put it all together before jiu-jitsu, claim neck cranks and leg locks were all part of jiu-jitsu and takedowns were all part of jiu-jitsu, you might want to check out everything I have to offer. My playlist, my positional playlist, 1 hour in each position and or specific subtopic of grappling. Take a look at my playlist. You want to learn some TMA style and you're a businessman that doesn't want to take headshots, maybe look at my Karate Go Jiu-Jitsu sparring rules. Look at my beta testing 2 rounds of Karate Go Jiu-Jitsu versus an amateur level MMA fighter, blue belt, who was the best guy I had to go with at the time, which originally was my combat jiu-jitsu rules that somebody else took my DVD and my rules and my explaining that there needs to be there's a gap between MMA and just grappling and just karate, just taekwondo. There's this missing thing that our martial artists around the world and business people, they could do some competition and not necessarily take all the brain damage. If you want to do Kyokushin, awesome. It's hard to find. If you want real Shotokan, that would be awesome. Too bad it's mostly the up and down butt punch daycare center that is also Taekwondo, Aikido, and all the rest. It might have MMA in the sign, and I'm like, really? What? How many MMA fights do you have? I don't. Okay, maybe. Did you train with Dan the Wolfman? Did you train with Mike Winklejohn? Did you train at American Top Team? Did you train blah, blah, blah? No. How are you teaching MMA then, bro? How are you teaching MMA? How are people teaching how to fight when they don't know how to fight? They're only crappy in one range of fighting. They don't even understand the totality of that one range or specific subsect of fighting. They don't even have the totality of that one little subsect. So, can Dan the Wolfman do some Aikido locks? Can I actually trap and I can even play around with people? Even though I only trained Wing Chun for 3 months, but it happened to be with a math professor, a guy who knew to keep it real, a Wing Chun guy. Yes, of course I can. I can because I train diligently. Get out there and train, as someone says. That's probably a good idea. I don't train as much as him anymore. I should be, and I'm trying to, but it's difficult because, well, of my diseases and my age. But get out there and train, and maybe you should think about, well, that stuff's cool. If I want to make it work, maybe I need a base in grappling, and then get your base in striking like a Muay Thai, even better at Dutch kickboxing, even better MMA, but not from people that suck, where I'm actually learning from Dan the Wolfman neo-striking videos how to switch stance shifting combinations, blitz combinations, off-rhythm combinations. I actually understand things on a higher level. Well, that looks weird. He sucks because I did 2 years of boxing or Muay Thai. Really? I'm hitting them a lot more than they hit me. Maybe you should think about that. Oh, they're taking it easy. On every pro gym around the world, supposedly they're taking it easy. I never sparred anyone good because some of my videos are teaching with people in Egypt or Malaysia. You bad people. I have plenty of videos sparring and grappling, 10 narrated submissions. I got like 5 or 6 narrated sparrings now. The one video versus 30 top fighters with 805 pro fights. In my video with Viking Samurai that you need to go check out right now after you hit the subscription and the thumbs up, because I'm trying to help you out. I talk about just sparring those champions. I didn't get into, well, I coached Mike Pierce and guys like Ricky Simone in the UFC for a couple months before taking the color commentating job, Pancrase, live on UFC Fight Pass. The year and a half I lived in Japan, the 2 weeks training with Sakuraba after fighting his prodigy Sato for 1 hour. I didn't even get into that. The couple times I coached Robert Whitaker and his fighters in Thailand. I didn't get into the, few classes I taught. I taught here over Room of Killers with guys like Chael Sonnen and Ed Herman in the room. I didn't even get into that. I forget stuff because I've taken some CTE. Someone just pointed out I had an interview with Don the Dragon Wilson. I didn't remember ever doing it, but I remember meeting him. So train hard, train to what your purpose is. Don't believe Dan the Wolfman saying just do Aikido or Wing Chun or this or that. I'm talking have a base, at least in some striking style, and not in a McDojo. I don't care if it was like Taekwondo or Hapkido from a real guy that happened to be in the Special Forces or won a gold medal. But if it's McDojo, Taekwondo, or Karate, well, it's not going to do you so much good. Try and get a base in real striking, at least Kyokushin, or hard to find real Shotokan. Or Muay Thai at an MMA gym, or legit MMA gym. And MMA is not Muay Thai plus BJJ. I've been saying it for years, and some other guy said it a few times. He's right, but I've been telling people for that years, especially overseas, are like, well, I can do really crappy Muay Thai and be a white belt, or just get a blue belt BJJ. And now I'm an MMA fighter. I know MMA. No, that's not MMA. You want to learn MMA? Do it like I did. Go spar the best fighters in the world for over 20 years. Do martial arts for 35 years. Bounce, have real world experience, and do some of the stuff that I've done. So just kind of know what's what. And maybe it's good to realize things like Aikido are good for the smack talk phase, the pre-fight phase. Sometimes I can do this or this and not have to get in a fully engaged fight and get arrested. Or throw a guy out of a bar. That's really good for that pre-fight phase. Or maybe now I did my judo, jiu-jitsu, osotoed him with the earth, go double knee ride, and now I EQ him pinned down first as I check him for weapons, and I get my cell phone on, and I call 911, or say get the cops here, and I arrest this guy for breaking some felony. Or misdemeanor, or violent misdemeanor. It's really useful for that. System is pretty good at a high level for the, oh my God, I just got surprised. I done transitional space, bam, bam, and I chopped the guy in the throat. Okay, now we're in an MMA fight, because that's really important to have the live MMA, judo, jiu-jitsu background, sambo as well. Please thumbs up, share, subscribe, get in the comments. Let me know if any of this made sense to you. Please get your base in striking.